Welcome to Seller Sessions. I am your host today, Sharon Even, and today I bring back Elson from BD Inspections. How are you today, Elson?
Hey, Sharon. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. I have a little bit of a sore throat today, so I apologize in advance if I cough a little bit today. Elson and I are giving a September 2022 China update. There has been a lot that's been going on in China in the last year, and Elson is here to update us from China. But in case people don't know you, Elson, can you please introduce yourself so that people know who you are?
Yes, thank you, Sharon. Let me have the chance to connect and talk with your friends and students here. So this is Elson from BD Inspection in China, Shenzhen. A greeting to you. We focused on quality inspection for 14 years, since 2008. So we have the quality inspection, factory audit, and the container loading services to the worldwide buyers who purchase from China. And most of our clients are from Amazon sellers from worldwide. So based on our experiences, the inspection is really important. But I think it's the right time to update some latest news and the situation about China, especially this pandemic impact to China. Yes.
Great. So Alison was on the podcast and on my channel last month. If anyone missed that, I encourage you to go back and watch our inspection video. And today we're going to do a China update video, and Elson has a lot of information to share with us. So Elson, we'll give you the mic and you can start.
Okay. So I know most of you must be very curious, but also doubting about China, the latest policy, how to tackle this pandemic. So it's really frustrating and devastating about China's economy as well as the China's supply chain a lot, deeply. But we think there is China have a different situation, different policy, as well as the culture and the different populations. So it's made us different. And I also can understand the outside of China because I can climb up the wall to watch outside. I think you can understand because we need to use VPN to watch outside. But the situation is getting better and better now. Like you can see, the most three impressive words for the Chinese guys should be mask, test, and lockdown. Okay, this is the three mostly impressive words to us. And there is a funny joke that is our regularly traditionally greeting for people meet each other is have you had your dinner? But now it's changed to have you done your test? It's very ridiculous, but it's really reluctant.
I just want to pause you for 1 second, Elson. For the people listening, maybe on our side of the world, it's as if COVID doesn't exist anymore. But in China, there's a zero tolerance policy. And China is a huge, huge population. What, 1 point something billion, right? So, right, Elson, 1.2 or something like that billion people.
1.4. Yes.
Yeah, 1.4. So there's a zero tolerance. And that's why some people who may be listening to this in, I don't know, Australia, America, other countries, obviously that are not China, maybe you're not aware that COVID is still a thing because Elson, I'm in Israel and COVID is it's not a thing here anymore. We don't wear masks. We don't do tests anymore. It's as if COVID, that's it, it's over. But in China, it's very different. And people need to understand that, because if you don't know that, you just told me and I didn't even know that 2 days ago you had a lockdown and for 2 days just before the mooncake holiday. So the reason that we're speaking about the pandemic here is because in China, it's not as if COVID doesn't exist anymore. There's a zero tolerance and it affects your everyday life. I just wanted to mention that for the listeners so they know. They may say, well, why is Elson talking about the pandemic? Because it's still relevant in China and it's impacting and supply chain. And that is why you're speaking about it. Sorry, keep going.
Okay, yes. As you know, China is different, and we still are implying the policy of dynamic zero tolerance policies. Yeah. That means if there is one case affected in this building or in this town, it will need to tackle it and lock down it. So this is very difficult for us, but it's much more flexible and more precise comparing to the 2 or 3 months ago, in Shanghai. The entire city is locked down for like 1 month. It's really difficult and tough, but now it's changed. So it's just maybe find this town or this street or building, find one case, then just lock down this building or this street, and out of these areas will be work and live normally. So I think the situation is getting better is because we have a chance. There is a chance that is that the NPC, the National People's Congress of the 20th in China will be holding on this October 16th, and we should have the new policy, and we expect it to have the good news. And you know, there is several elements made the situation is better. Is because firstly the RMB to USD exchange rate is increasing. Of course, it's double-sided. To Chinese export, it's good news, but for the worldwide buyers, it's not good. But for the Chinese, this is really a good thing because based on their very poor profit, now with this a little bit of the exchange rate increasing, we can gain a little bit more profit. This is the first elements. Then the shipping freight is dropping. Even now, as we are approaching to the traditional peak season from September to the next January, it's the peak season. But now the freight still keep dropping. Okay, and we think the price will be increased till the October middle of the October. So right now is a good news for us, and the China factories have the more flexible production systems, so they may be agree to take the small orders, even 1 pieces or 2 pieces or just a dozen, and they can get all the sources together to make the order, the price cheaper and more production more smoothly. So we manage the smart production or the flexible production is on processing and happening in China now. And they also have the fourth element will be the associated production. That means because it's really a tough time for the China factories. So we get it together, different factories get it together, and different process factories get it together to make the order to be more competitive, or we can manage. So a production of the finished product, you produce these parts and I produce these products, these parts, and make the product to be achieved. We name it associated production is also happening in China now. And because the six elements which we are turning to the better is because there are more and more competition in China. Okay, we name it rolling inside. So more competition is because of the situation of the economic of China and worldwide is not good, and a lot of taxes to the companies, and the price increase from the raw materials made the competition. It's really difficult to get a client on a different, very difficult to get an order, big order. So competition is more. So it's good news for the buyer, can get a very
competitive pricing.
Competitive price. Yes. And we can expect it. The deregulation policy is a processing in China, because we have a good chance that the MPC will be happening on this October 16th. Is a really, really big thing in China. Okay. So it will make the pandemic tackle policies like zero tolerance will be more precisely or humanitarian as well as flexible. So this is the elements I collected it from our friends that will happening in the very coming soon.
Great. Yeah. So the reason that this is important is because also every time there is a lockdown or testing or even inspections, I remember we booked an inspection, I think it was like 2 months ago or 1 month ago. And I can't remember if, I think it was Amber, and she said to me,
yes, with Amber, there is a inspection in Hebei.
She said to me that it wasn't Amber, maybe I can't remember her, maybe it was Shirley, but she said to me the inspector is going to be delayed because of the there was, if you go in, because of the testing, etc. And she said because of the tests, like we can't even get to the factory yet. We need to do tests first. And on this side of the world, unless you really understand what's going on in China, people may not even know. So the way that China government is handling the whole scenario with the pandemic has very much impacted supply chain in every way. And especially for manufacturers, suddenly a worker can't make it to work or whatever it may be. Even also a lot of factories over the last year, a lot of factories lost workers and new workers come in. And when new workers come in, it affects the quality of the product because they need to, learn the processes, etc. So even if it feels on the other side of the world that, COVID's gone and passed, in China, it still has impacted up to now in many different ways. You don't need people to have necessarily a lot of people to have COVID for it. It could be one person in an area and it can impact the entire area and that impacts the manufacturing. It can impact, logistics, so truckers and trucking and the ports. There's so many elements that if you're not an experienced product developer, that maybe people don't know. And that's why it's great that we're speaking about it. So what you were saying is next month, there should be some changes in the regulations or whatever it may be, which is a great thing. And it sounds like manufacturers are looking forward to it because it will give them, I don't know, smoother operations, etc.
Yes, you really mentioned the most important thing, that the impact to the supply chain and the factory. Maybe we just had a 2 days lockdown on this September 10th and 11th in Shenzhen.
Just before mooncake holiday.
before the Moon Cricket holidays. So it's just happened on the weekend, and we just needed to stay at home and not go out to park. So it will be fine. Yes, everybody in China need to have the COVID code. There is a square code which to represent your status of the testing about this COVID. So you need to have the validity of 24 hours test is negative. Then you can go anywhere. Negative.
Every day you have to do a test?
Yes, every day we need to do one test. Every day. So I just mentioned to you, there are 3 words for the Chinese people most impressive is mask, test, and lockdown. So we maybe no need to wear mask everywhere, but we needed to bring our code
everywhere.
Square code, which 24 hours validate. You can enter the building, enter to the library or hospital or official or banks. So without it, you cannot go anywhere. But sometimes in some places, if the situation is not seriously, so maybe it will have 48 hours valid date will be fine. But if you need to take the bus or train, it's always asked for 24 hours. So this is the reason why the last time there is one inspection for you, and the inspector need to be delayed because maybe he forget the test.
It's
so,
I to be honest, I work, how much I'm sometimes I feel like I'm in China because I work every day with suppliers, and I'm all the time. I didn't even know that you had to do tests every single day. I only just found that out now. I didn't realize it was all of China every single day. That's crazy.
Yes, we need to line up every day, but it's totally free. But this free is really terrible. It's similarly that we now need to pay for this nucleic test, but it's already a tax. We pay tax, and there is a really big red flag in China, the financial in the China government. So government no money, so they have a really more strictly regulation to the entrepreneurs and companies about the taxes. This bureaucratic process on the government, they will strictly check your financial, check your bank account, and this is the incurred the reason why why your supplier maybe tell you that you need to pay to our another bank account, because the factory need to escape the possible check or inspection from the government if this bank account have so much of the income and outcome of payment. So this is a way for the factory to escape the possible risks from the government have the inspection on their accountant and the financial.
Wow, it sounds that life isn't easy right now in China, but it never is. But this is why it's so important for me to bring you on, because almost 90% of the people I work with, we all source from China. And it's different between speaking to someone who's physically in China and also Chinese than just speaking with someone who, like me, who just develops products in China. And, I hope it also helps to people to be a little bit more understanding towards the Chinese suppliers as well. Because I'm just imagining, waking up every morning, going to get tests, getting your child ready, going into the factory and etc. It sounds, not easy as well. But when I mentioned the fact that the inspector, it was a little bit delayed, I had no problem with that. I understood that, that I know what's going on in China. I also know that Chinese economy right now is very bad. I know the housing economy in China is also very bad. And what I hope that also some people take from this is also just a little bit more compassion as well, and understanding. Business is business. It's important to, to stay professional and business wise, but also compassion and understanding towards your suppliers as well, and all service providers in China.
Yes, thanks for your understanding. And I feel I have the duty to explain more to let our friends and buyers in worldwide to understand China better. Life is not easy. I think any will be like this. And I want to tell you my thinking that is, if your supplier is still alive and still struggling there, then please treasure them, because they may be the right supplier is chosen by the God, because in such a bad situation, they are alive and cooperate with you, then they should be have the capability to provide you good quality and product. So here I have seven possible issues or risks, I think, to the buyers based on the situation of the pandemic in China now. Then I will have my 8 suggestions for the buyers about how to handle those issues. So I want to share to you. It's okay?
Please do. Yes, please do.
Okay. So I think the possible problems, issues, or possible risks for the buyers who buying from China, because I'm very frankly to give you this situation now. The first thing I think is maybe the production leading time will be longer, and many postpone or delay will be always happening, because nobody knows if there is a suddenly lockdown. Okay, and maybe this your supplier not have the city of you do not have lockdown, but he's a supplier of the factory in another city.
The raw materials.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if your factory to tell you, update you, maybe have delay, so please take some understanding that this is really true. But now is a really better, turning to better is the lockdown always precisely to small areas, and maybe more shorter, maybe 1 day or 2 days. Okay, so this is the first thing. The longer leading time will be needed, and always have the possible of postpone. And the second possible issue will be your supply will be increase the price during production. I think I heard several of my friends complain to us that why my supplier signed a contract to us and asking for the increased price. I think the reason is because the exchange rate is increasing. Okay, yes, but it will make the raw materials which China imports will increase the price. It will be have the impact like October or November, but they still have some big possibilities that the suppliers' price will be goes up a little bit.
Increase.
And the shipping price will goes up around October, because after the September, October will be the middle of the peak season for production, because September to January will be the peak season cycle.
Also preparing for Chinese New Year. A lot of people make big orders now in preparation because, of Chinese New Year as well.
Yes, as well as the Christmas
time
holidays and the New Year holidays. Okay, and February, at the end of January and February, China will have 30 to 45 days Chinese New Year holiday, the traditional holidays. So before this will be the peak season. And the third possible risk is unexpected and suddenly lockdown. Okay. And the fourth will be factory suddenly closed. There are thousands of factories, shops, stores closed or minimized this workers and have many people lost their jobs. It's a really difficult time. So we are really looking forward to have a good change on this October 16th of this MPC meeting.
What is so just to make sure, the reason you're saying that factory could suddenly close down is not because of the pandemic, but because they go bankrupt, they don't have the money anymore, or they need to decrease workers because of economy, right? Okay. That's what you mean.
Several elements together. This pandemic already affected us for 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Once there's a knockdown, we cannot go out for work, cannot production, but the company still need to pay the salary, pay the rent, pay the insurance or the mortgage, everything. There is no support from the government to pay something or reduce something. It's really difficult. And the order is crushed down a lot because many of the clients they are very afraid of this lockdown frequently happening in China. So it's like uncertain bomb around your side. So
yeah,
as well as the situation of China, our inside the economy is really bad. Besides the export is bad. So
yeah,
several elements together.
Okay.
There is many company. They just trying their best to be alive, survival.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and the fifth possible issues will be a factory changed to a trading company without notice you. They originally a factory and they act as a factory, and they are originally is really a factory, but to run such a big workshop, you need to pay a lot of money. Okay, and if there is no order and need to pay salaries, you cannot to hire the workers, but no work into them. So many of them change to a small office, small workshop or small office. So they are no more production, but you thought they are still producing. They outsourcing from outside. So this is the fifth possibilities of the issues. And the sixth issues we think is that factory will move to the other places which have a lower rent, or move to another city, a new city, which have better policies. So like in Shenzhen, this is a very modern and international city. Like 5 years ago, Shenzhen basically have no manufacturers. Okay. The city is close to the Shenzhen will be the manufacturer service for China, for Shenzhen. And now is removing to a more remote cities of the middle of China. Okay. So once they removed to the new places, maybe they have to hire new workers. And the new workers will maybe not so skillful, not well trained. It may be caused the possible issue like quality poor, leading time delay, like something like this. So you need to understand the situation of your factory now. Yes.
I want to quickly give my feedback on that. And the reason that is very, very important. And also this sometimes happens after Chinese New Year as well. Sometimes after Chinese New Year, factories suddenly have newer workers. And the thing about China and factories, the factories usually are skilled in a specific type of product. And when you have workers that are coming every day to work in the factory, especially with the Chinese factory workers, they get used to doing the same thing over and over and over, and that's why quality is usually very good. And then if you have new workers come in and they don't know the work as well, right, and like you said, it can impact the amount of time it takes to produce, etc., and that will impact the lead time and the quality also, because these workers need to now learn a new type of product or a new type of whatever it may be. And that can impact like you said, the quality, etc. So it's actually it's an important thing to mention. It happens, like you said, you're expecting people to move. It also something that I've, in my years of experience, have realized also can happen also after Chinese New Year. Suddenly, they have new workers as well, and it can have an impact also.
Yes, makes sense. This is you just mentioned one of the suggestions that I'm going to share.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
It's okay. Yes, this is the reason why I want to suggest to the client, the buyer, you need to treasure the supplier which you think is okay with you right now, because it's really hard to keep the workers keep working there with a skillful experiences to keep the quality to be stable. And if the factory have no choice to remove from this place to another city and hire new workers, the efficiency of work efficiency goes down, and they need a lot of time to workers. So I really want to update and remind our buyers that you need to know your factory, they are still in the same places or transferred to another new places is an important thing. And if your factory is good and do not change your supplier easily, it's important.
One way of knowing also if your factory moved is also by having an inspection. If suddenly you're given a new address, right, it's also a red flag that maybe your factory moved as well, without telling you.
So yes, you mentioned another suggestion.
And all right, I'm gonna shut up now. Yep, keep going.
It's really good of the reminding that once you mention it, you aware that these possible risks based on these situations, then it's really important to understand your factories, because when you call, maybe it's hard to find the truth. So you need to find us to help you to make a visit to check if they are still be there, if they are keep in the same places, and how is the quality. And this is the main, and this is really helpful with these inspection services. Okay, let me go on. The seventh main possible issue, that is your salesman or sales guy, which cooperated with you, he already changed to a new company or already resigned from this company. Maybe he works for a new company, but he still represents his old company, or she or he works as a Soho. Okay, you know Soho, right? Yeah, small office, home office, personally. Yeah, so because many of people lost their job and unemployed, but they are experiencing it and they have clients. So maybe this is the chance for them to start their own business by himself, but it's a risk for the buyer, which cooperate with those Soho. But it depends. Okay, so the eighth possible issue will be more strictly government regulation encourage the company change account rapidly. as I just explained before, government lack of money. They spend too much of money for the free test, and they have a more strictly policies to the companies to pay more tax and to find out if you are illegal. So we are afraid of this because as an boss myself also have this concerning. So we always have some backup bank accounts.
Bank details, yeah.
Yes. So we cannot let the one account have so much of the cashes flood in or out because it will cause the possible risks. Okay. So once your supplier to ask you to pay to a new bank account, you need to be pay really attention. Sometimes it's real reason because of the
what you explained.
Yes, but sometimes it's there are tricks. Yes, so we help many clients that we will help them to make a call to their office from. Okay, I will call to their boss or their accountant that to confirm with them if they really change the bank account.
Yeah.
And for the buyer, you need to make sure the bank account, if the same company name or similar name, it's better to pay to the company bank account instead of the personal bank account.
It's a great tip, and part of the reason why you're saying that is because, for example, a salesperson, a lot of people, you know, a lot of product developers, that they hold the relationship with the salesman, and the salesman could move, or the salesman could leave and say, "Hi, Sharon, you know, for this order that you're about to put in, I need you to pay to a different bank account and make up a reason." And then I pay to that bank account, and actually they no longer work for the company, for the factory. And I've put the money in their bank account. And the minute that you put money in a bank account in China or in any country, you know, through a bank wire, etc., that's it. Bye-bye money. So it's a great tip to make sure that you, if ever you are asked to pay to a different bank account, to, for example, have someone like yourself or someone from BD Inspections or someone in China to actually call up and say, you know, to the actual office and ask, "I've been told to make a change. I want to confirm that this is the right bank account." Great and important tip.
I think it will happen in anywhere of the world. But now 100%. The situation is have more risks because the situation is really bad. Many companies bankrupt or closed, and many people unemployed. So this is the reason. But like you said, it will be happening anywhere. So we help clients to make a call to the company directly. So it's important for the buyer to keep a good relationship with the sales personally, but also important to keep contact with the company because your order is based on the company, not the sales.
Not the salesperson. Important.
Yes. So
great tip.
Okay. In my the ninth possible issue will be the quality difference from the approved example to the mass production. You know, the mass production quality, or sorry, the approved example quality is not the same to the mass production quality. You know, because we produce the example and do the mass production is really a long period. Several weeks or months, and the materials may be changed, or the skills, the production procedure to produce sample and mass production is different. So need to really care the mass production's quality is different from the approved example, and better to keep an approved example in your side and the factory side both.
To compare.
for comparison.
And if possible, to send to the inspection company so they can compare as well.
Yes, many of our clients, they keep the approved example in our side. So they no need the examples delivery to the client side with much of the freight and long time. And we can do the sample quality check for him. And once the client want to switch to another factory, and we will have the same quality approved example in my side to deliver to the new factories.
And to compare
really
as well.
Convenient, yes. So the next possible issues will be the new company, new sales, or lack experiences. Because many companies close it and many new companies established. Some of them you not know if they are new or if they are old. So you need to really make sure they are fresh or if they are old companies. It's important. I always suggest clients try to find the factory or suppliers from Alibaba to check what's their lifetime, how many years they are already in Alibaba. There is a mark about how many years on Alibaba. You need to check it.
Correct.
And it really validate and really is credible information.
You know, Elson, I just want to put a pointer on that. When I work with a new Chinese manufacturer, I have a Chinese lawyer. I've been working with him for many years. He's Chinese. He lives in China, and when I work with a new factory, I have send you guys to do a factory audit, and two, he does a full background check for me on the make sure that there's no issues with the government side of them. So I think that I always recommend that it's a great, just before you put in the purchase order with a new factory, to always do a background check, and make sure that they are who they say they are. They, say Alibaba can sometimes say whatever 14 years, and actually the person that you end up speaking with is from a sister company, and it's actually not the same. So it's important to also check that as well.
Yes, some of the clients relied on Alibaba information too much.
Yeah.
The situation and the status about a certain company on Alibaba is the past. Yesterday is good and tomorrow maybe not good. So you need to have the current, the latest status of this company, this salesman. So this is the reason why I need to do the right now background checking and quality checking. Is
and
really
factory audit.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
So I also have my suggestions for the buyers who are going to or already purchasing from China. And first thing, I think treasure the supplier who you are cooperating right now, because he can survive now and alive now because they have the ability to survive, and they can survive and live better in the following years. It really means something. Yeah, because the company who already closed it, because even without this pandemic they may be already going to die or close it also. But those company who can struggling and keep surviving now is because they have something special thing make them alive. So treasure this supplier you're writing now, not change the supplier easily, and it give you much of the risk to be laboratory rats for testing rats.
Yeah, I think wow, I'm just so happy that you're here, because it's an important thing to say. What you're saying is, when you're saying dead and alive, you don't mean actually alive or dead. What you mean is the factory is still working, that they're still, right? That's what you mean. You mean like, when you're saying alive, you mean the fact that the factory is still operating, okay?
Yes, I
is
mean, this
is
company
yes,
still
yes.
existing and
It's still
still
existing.
producing.
And it's so
Yes,
important. And I'm so happy that you're saying this because, in general, life in China is not easy. And unless you're Chinese or in China, you can't understand it from outside. So in general, life is not easy in China. And you add to that everything since the pandemic. And many things have happened since the pandemic. So what you're saying is if your supplier still exists and they're still operating and everything is still good, treasure them, like you're saying, and I think it's a really great point for people to remember because, I've got many clients and I've got many experiences with different people. And sometimes something can go wrong on one order and a buyer can get angry and walk away. And I say out of, 100 orders, one went wrong, don't be so quick to walk away.
makes
People
sense.
make mistakes. We are also people and people make mistakes and stuff can happen. And sometimes it can be a huge impact on your business. But I love what you're saying, treasure your suppliers, have a great relationship with them because the fact that they're still operating means that they could survive the really, really, really difficult times. So I love that. Thank you for that tip.
Yes, you reminded me there is a saying that everybody deserves a second chance.
It's true.
Yes, you already paid for the fault and do not escape because the next order they can do better, I think. And
Yeah. I mean, it
yes.
depends. It depends, but in many scenarios, if you've been working with a company for a long time and and out of all of that, there's one bad order, sometimes, sometimes it happens and it will happen. But there's, if it keeps happening and it keeps happening and it keeps happening, then something's wrong. But
Yes,
out
we
of
need
one
to
time, it's
evaluate. Yes,
yeah,
we needed to do the evaluation to check, make sure. Yeah,
yeah.
it depends. And my second suggestion will
Suggestion.
be ask for a video call to your salesman by suddenly a surprise call. So you can test and you can check if he is a dog or if it's a human, okay? And you can check if she is capable and experiencable. So we can use Google Translation to email you very
Yeah.
properly. But when you talk face to face, you can immediately evaluate this guy is a fresh guy or they're hiding something for you. So, and another important thing is the surprise call. That means you should call at the Chinese working time, China working time, to make sure if to ask her if he can take you look around at their workshop. So you will make sure their factory or something. Maybe he can give you excuse, but you can try another time. So this is something can help you to understand your supplier better.
Great tip. A good way to do a video call is a WeChat video.
Yeah. So
or WhatsApp, but yeah,
WhatsApp is not
it's popular.
not so works well in China. So it's better to have a WeChat.
WeChat.
WeChat is very popular. I think everyone have a WeChat. But WhatsApp, we need to have the VPN. Sometimes it have registered some function like my WhatsApp cannot do the video call.
Video calls. Yeah.
But WeChat is very good. Yes.
Yeah.
So ask for a surprise video call will be much helpful to clients to understand the supplier better and understand your sales better. It's necessary. I think it's really necessary.
I agree 100%. It's also great to do a call with the supplier, and even before a sample is sent out. I always hop on a call, ask them, can you show me? Because there's no point in sending me a sample if it's not good, if I could see already from a video call. So I hop on a video call. I do WeChat through my computer. So I've got a big screen and they show me and we speak. I think it's a great tip and very, very important. Please keep going. You're doing great.
So suppose you are looking for a new supplier from several suppliers. It's a really a fast way for you to sort out the capable guys. Okay, so you just call to each other and maybe just let the guy who cannot give you
Communicate
good
well.
impression, cannot have a good communication, or maybe he or she just want to hide something and cannot have a face calling. Okay. Okay. So the third suggestion will be the best way for payments is pay via Alibaba. Okay. Pay via Alibaba because you have the guarantee from Alibaba. Each supplier, they need to have a guarantee money put on Alibaba. Like a different company will have a different amount of this credit money. Okay, like $10,000 or $50,000. This amount means Alibaba can quickly take this money to cover the loss for the buyer if the factory made it wrong or illegal, or so that's the way for the client to pay via Alibaba. Okay, and if the factory do not want to pay via Alibaba, then you need to pay to their company's bank account in China mainland. Okay, official bank account. So you need to pay tax, and everything goes very regularly and strictly. Okay, then you can pay to the Bank of Hong Kong, banks in Hong Kong of this company. I not recommend that clients pay to the personal bank account. Okay.
I want to quickly comment on that. So today I only have one supplier that I pay through Alibaba, and it's because they forced me to pay through Alibaba. I don't pay anyone else through Alibaba anymore, but these are suppliers that I have been working with for years. Okay, for very, very long time. And second of all, I also work with sourcing agents who I've been working with for a very long time. And I think that when you start with a new supplier for the first time or second time or third time, I think Alibaba is, a must. But at some point, I think it's okay once you have a trust between and you've seen, at some point, I think it's okay to pay to the company bank account, but not from the very beginning. So meaning when you start to work with a new supplier, because also trade assurance on Alibaba, in my experience, is more protective of the suppliers and less protective of the buyers, in my experience. And at the end of the day, I think it's a matter of trust. And, you never trust a supplier from the very beginning. You trust a supplier after 2, 3 orders, you see it's going well. Okay. But before I ever pay a supplier to their bank account, I always have a background check. Like I told you with my Chinese supplier, Richard, I always have a factory audit with you guys, but a factory audit can also only check so much. Okay. And that's why I always have my lawyer to do a background check, etc. And then I can start paying to their bank account and, and trust that it's, so I think in the beginning, it's very important, you start with Alibaba, but eventually it's okay to pay to their bank account once you have that relationship, especially if you've been working with your supplier for, 3, 4, 5 years, etc., like me.
Yes, I understand that this is the reason why so many students start from you and follow your experience, because you looks really experienceful and expert. Yes, everything is pending.
Yeah.
So I just mentioned that some clients rely on Alibaba too much.
Yeah.
Okay, Alibaba is really a giant company, really big, and he not always have so much time to pay special attention to each order. So you need to protect you very well. So if you understand your factory supplier very well, then and you trust them, then you pay to the factory directly, will be fine. But if you have no other choice and you haven't do the background checking,
100% Alibaba.
so this is the lowest credit for you to pay via Alibaba, right?
I agree.
Yes, I also agree with your idea. To order with the sourcing agent is another good option, very good option, because the factories maybe they just have the really good price competition advantage on the production, on the price. But for the sourcing agents, they can sort out the really good factory who can produce this product for you well with good quality in time delivery, and can give you the some payment credit. Maybe you can pay later or pay by LC something, as well as the experiences sales from these sourcing agents. They can combine many of these sources together to make it all go smoothly. So trading agent or sourcing agents is really good because they can take it small orders, but some factories cannot. Yes. So my first suggestion tips will be, it's really important to do the factory audit before you pay to a new factory, and to do the quality inspection before shipping. Okay. So yes, this is the old topic, so I just skip it. Then my fifth suggestion was signed very clearly contract with factory and included the possible risks, quality terms, everything. And the client, if they think necessary, they can ask our suggestions on the quality terms or payment terms, as well as the free samples or spare parts, those policies or informations. I can give them some suggestions on each contract. Yes. And we think the sixth information and the suggestions how to find the right factories. If you want to find a new factory for your new products, you need to compare price for at least 3 or 6 suppliers. Make the comparison from 6 or 3 suppliers and choose the supplier who have the middle price, not the lowest, of course, not the highest. Always, because the lowest maybe have some suppliers, they take order irrationally. They want to survive. Even this order is no profit or no profit, zero profit. They want to take it. But once they take it, they find it's really hard to achieve this order. Then you will have risk, and you have problem that factory maybe increase the price or quality goes down. Okay, and have many of these abuse or something. So find the middle price factory. This is very reasonable. And then my seventh suggestion is really important. That is, all the Chinese guys, most of the Chinese guys is very kindly and friendly. They want to make friends with you. So if you respect them very well, and sometimes at the holiday, send them some gift to them, they really treasure it, and you will get a profit from it, from the future orders. We have many of the clients from Israel. They works like this way, and they not really send a gift from Israel to China. No, they maybe ask us to buy a kind of the gift, and ask us to write notes in English and sign their name and deliver it to them. It's very good. Can keep a very good relationship, and you can do the long-term cooperation with the factory. This is really important. You need to understand the Chinese culture. Chinese culture is you give me 1 cent, I will give you double cents. This is the way of Chinese to do
It's
the
true.
business.
It's very, very true. First of all, it's a great tip, especially, we're in mid-September, end of January, it's Chinese New Year. I sent you a message yesterday or the day before, and I said to you, Happy Mooncake, festival. And I did to my suppliers as well. And I think it's very, 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 very important. And I think it's a very important tip. I also told you, I had COVID last year, and one of my suppliers sent me green tea from China to Israel. Yeah, I told you that before we spoke. It's the relationship is also in China, Chinese culture, relationship is very important. And the relationship that you hold with your supplier, like you said, you'll profit from it in one way or another. Okay. And I really agree with it.
10 times profit.
Yeah, 10 times profit. And it may not be necessarily only just profit in money. It can also be, the fact that the supplier, you put an order in and you say, look, it's urgent. And, and the supplier moves your order, before somebody else's order. It can be, there's so many different ways. I've got amazing relationships with my suppliers, and it's a great tip. I personally do send products, from either Israel, because I live in Israel, or America, to my suppliers. But I know that you guys are also, are a great option if anyone wants to, send a product, a gift. Reaching out to BD Inspections is also a great option, and you guys actually purchase the gift and send it to them. But great tip, and an important tip, especially hearing it come from, someone in China. I've given this tip before, especially before Chinese New Year. I always say to people, send your suppliers a gift and send them something. And hearing it also coming from you, being, Chinese, and then the Chinese culture, and you saying this is how your culture is, great and important tip, because like you said, it may be a small gesture, but it will go a long way, and it will help you in the future, and you will profit from it 1,000,000 times more. Great tip, Elson.
Yes, and as one thing that you not mentioned is that once they get a gift from his client, he can post it on the WeChat, the social media, so everybody knows, and he or she will feel that if the gift is delivered from one of your friends in China, so he will think that you maybe have a branch, or you have a really many friends in China, and maybe they think you are really big, and it's really give you additional scores on this. Yes. So my last suggestion is we need to imply and insist on this long-term cooperation. To change suppliers rapidly sometimes is necessary, but once your supplier is good, give them some reasonable profit, and you and the factory both to grow up and keep a long relationship is really good. Because change to a new factory is give you some risks and cost too much of times, and you lost. And when you keep cooperate with this factory, actually you can let the price goes down. Yes, you can let the price goes down, and quality sometimes with our inspection interference is always can have the guarantee. Yes, so those are my suggestions. Yeah,
great tips, Elson. I think you did a great job, and very, very good tips, and also very good predictions of what to expect in the coming months. And also, thank you also for the update on ground, what's happening in China. We need to wrap it up. It's been a long. We said we'll do shorts, but the minute you
How
start
long we have?
speaking, no, you did. It's okay. You did a great job, because the minute you start speaking, I don't want to even stop you, because you're giving so many treasures. So thank you so much. Now, if anybody wants to contact you, Elson, for factory audit inspections, container anything that you guys offer, where can they contact you? Where can they find you? What's your email?
Thank you. My email address firstly will be the info@inspection.com.cn, or Elson, ELSON, Elson at inspection.com.cn,
Great.
as well as my WhatsApp. Okay.
Yeah, which I will put your WhatsApp in the description and as well, and your other details also in the description.
We use WeChat. WeChat number is my WhatsApp number. That's fine. Yes. Thank you, Sharon.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much for your time, Elson. I will bring you back, sometime soon again, and we'll do another update. So thank you so much for your time.
I wish I can do better, and I wish I can share information. I needed to do more homework. Yes.
You are great. You're very, 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 very good. And you did a really, really great job. And I promise you that our listeners here are going to be very, very thankful. So thank you very much to Elson. I will see you all next week. Isabella will be back next Monday, and Danny will be back next week as well. Thank you very much for our listeners, and I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye. Thank you, Elson.